artist. That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah, for sure. No, without a doubt. I mean, for me personally, as a guitarist, it's, there's nothing really more metal than just shredding the flying fuck out of a guitar, right? I
mean, right? That's kind of like the heart of the genre.
What you're playing a show for people, they're going to be into your show, but I mean, you start shredding and just tapping the fuck out of a guitar, people are going ape shit. I mean, there's just no question about it.
That's
right?
When the pit erupts.
I mean,
and the titties come out.
People go to a show. People go to a show for a reason, right? I mean,
they're just for the titties.
People come to a show because, I mean, let's be realistic here. Why are you going to go to a rock or metal show, right? You want to rock your ass off, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's not just every, Dave on the street corner is just going to be shredding the shit out of a guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it takes a little bit of talent to get to that point. So, you start hearing that, you're going to be probably rocking out a little bit, right? So, my personal influence from this, I mean, me just as speaking from, Justin Bruce's perspective here, I've been playing, guitar for 20, 25 years. So, it's for me from day one, it was always about, dude, rock and roll, you're going to shred guitar, play as fast as you can. That's all there is to it, and so play as heavy as you can, play as fast as you can. That's rock and roll. That's metal,
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get to that point as fast as I could, right? And so once I figured out the basics of playing, that's what I did. I didn't care if it sounded good and I sounded like I knew what the shit I was doing or not. I played fast and I played heavy,
You definitely sound like you know what you're fucking doing, man. I mean, again, even 20 years ago, I was blown away with your talent.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate it, That, I mean, shit, for those of you guys who don't know, Eric and I, we go way back, right? We've been friends for over 20 years, so Eric has certainly heard some of the earliest stuff, that's come out. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's for me, like, as fast and as just off the wall and breaking the mainstream as possible is rock and roll. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Let's face it. What did Eddie Van Halen do when he first came out? Nobody could believe what he was playing. Nobody knew how the hell he was doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, they're hearing this shit, but he in the earliest Van Halen shows, he had his back turned to the crowd. When he was playing, nobody knew what the hell he was doing. They're
wow.
like, dude, we're hearing this, but nobody has a fucking clue how he's playing this because his back's turned to the crowd. And they're listening to it, but they're absolutely blown away, Well, that's me, I'm like trying to figure out, dude, how can you keep the crowd engaged in what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
When you knock them on their ass, to where when they leave the show, they cannot believe what you were playing, And so for me, it was to get to that point as fast as possible. And, I mean, you start mixing genres. Jazz, by its very essence, fusion jazz is kind of like mixing stuff that like fits and doesn't really fit, at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You mix that with metal and rock, and people are just blown away. It's like, well, you're breaking rules here. You can't do that. Who the fuck are you to tell me I can do that or cannot do that?
Yeah.
You play fast. You play rock. You play metal. The music comes out the way it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
This is entertainment here. If you're entertained by it, there are no rules that you're following here. It doesn't matter what you're doing. People like what you're doing. They came to your show for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was always my philosophy from day one. Is to play something that people have not heard before, regardless of where they've been, who they've listened to. That's something different from what they've heard before. So I'm trying to entertain people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how you go about doing that. I don't follow the rules of, well, music theory says you can play this or you can play that. Well, no, fuck that. You can, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is. I mean, that's the very essence of rock and metal is you entertain the people who who pay to come to the show, regardless of whether you're following any rules or not. So.
Eric, hit up the Church of Metal Card. Talked about, some originality in music and a little history and stuff here. gotta touch on the icicles of doom. This penguins, black metal penguins, not just any normal penguin. Black metal penguins. I'm assuming they were emperor penguins. Brunch.
Yeah, exactly. They were emperor penguins, and I think that joke was intentional.